A young mother named Monica stands at her college graduation with a newborn baby tucked inside her gown. She's overcome unimaginable odds. And as she walks across that stage, it's clear her story is one of resilience, heartbreak, and strength. But how did Monica end up here, balancing motherhood and her education after being abandoned as a child? And what was it about her journey that moved everyone to tears? As we uncover the truth behind Monica's powerful story, we'll see how love and determination brought healing to her life in ways no one could have predicted. But before we dive into the story, comment below where you're watching from today, and if you enjoy this emotional tale of triumph and perseverance, don't forget to subscribe. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting a warm glow on Monica's face. She stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her graduation cap for what felt like the 100th time. Her hands trembled slightly as she smoothed down her black gown, taking care not to disturb the precious bundle nestled against her chest. "We did it, Isaiah," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "We really did it." From beneath the folds of her gown, a tiny hand reached out, grasping at nothing in particular. Monica smiled, gently stroking her newborn son's fingers. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them away, determined not to smudge her carefully applied makeup. This was her moment, their moment, a testament to every hardship she'd endured, every obstacle she'd overcome. As she gazed at her reflection, Monica could hardly believe the woman staring back at her. Strong, resilient, a college graduate, and a mother. "Ready to make your debut, little man?" she cooed, carefully adjusting Isaiah so he was securely tucked inside her gown. His warmth against her chest gave her strength, reminding her of everything she'd fought for. With a deep breath, Monica stepped out of her tiny apartment and into the bright morning sun. The campus was alive with excitement, families and friends gathering to celebrate the graduating class. As she made her way toward the auditorium, Monica couldn't help but think about how far she'd come. Her mind drifted back to a day that had changed everything. She was 7 years old, pigtails bouncing as she skipped home from school, eager to show her parents the gold star she'd earned on her math test. But when she arrived at their small apartment, something was different. The door was slightly ajar, and an eerie silence hung in the air. "Mom? Dad?" Monica called out, her voice echoing through the empty rooms. "I'm home." No response. She wandered from room to room, confusion turning to fear as she realized the apartment was empty. Not just empty of people, but of everything. The ratty couch where she used to curl up with her mom to watch cartoons gone. The rickety kitchen table where her dad would help her with homework vanished. Little Monica stood in the center of what used to be her living room, clutching her backpack to her chest, her gold star forgotten. Tears streamed down her face as the reality of the situation slowly sank in. "They left me," she whispered, her small voice breaking. "They really left me." Hours passed, and as the sun began to set, a knock on the door startled Monica from her huddled position on the floor. A kind-faced woman in a crisp suit introduced herself as a social worker. "Hi there, sweetheart," the woman said gently, kneeling down to Monica's level. "My name is Ms. Carter. Can you tell me your name?" "And Monica," she stammered, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. Ms. Carter's eyes softened with sympathy. "Monica, I'm here to help you. Can you tell me where your parents are?" Fresh tears spilled down Monica's cheeks as she shook her head. "They're gone. They left me." The next few hours were a blur of police officers, more social workers, and hushed conversations just out of Monica's earshot. She clutched her backpack, refusing to let go of the last tangible connection to her old life. That night, Monica found herself in a strange bed, surrounded by unfamiliar sounds and smells. The foster home was clean and warm, but it wasn't home. As she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, Monica's young mind grappled with questions no child should have to face. Why didn't they want me? Was I not good enough? Did I do something wrong? The days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Monica was shuffled from one foster home to another, never staying in one place long enough to feel settled. Her journey through the foster care system was a tumultuous one, filled with uncertainty and constant change. Each new home brought a mix of hope and anxiety, as she wondered if this would finally be the place where she could put down roots and feel accepted. The Johnsons were her first foster family, a middle-aged couple with 2 biological children. At first, Monica was hopeful. Mrs. Johnson had a kind smile, and Mr. Johnson's booming laugh filled the house with warmth. But as days turned into weeks, Monica realized she was always on the outside looking in. "Monica, dear, could you set the tables?" Mrs. Johnson would ask, her tone polite but distant. Monica would nod, carefully arranging plates and cutlery, all the while watching the easy interactions between the Johnsons and their own children. Jokes she didn't understand, references to family vacations she hadn't been part of, casual touches, and affectionate nicknames that were never extended to her. One evening, as Monica sat on her bed struggling with math homework, she overheard a conversation that shattered her fragile sense of belonging. "I just don't know if we can keep her, Harry." Mrs. Johnson's voice drifted up the stairs. "She's a good kid, but she's so quiet, like she's always watching us. It's unsettling." Mr. Johnson sighed. "I know what you mean. Maybe she just needs more time to adjust." "It's been 3 months," Mrs. Johnson replied. "I think it's best if we call the social worker. She might be better off with a different family." Monica's pencil clattered to the floor, her math problems forgotten as hot tears spilled down her cheeks. She'd tried so hard to be good, to be invisible, to not cause any trouble. But somehow, it still wasn't enough. 2 weeks later, Monica found herself in a new home with the Garcias, a lively family with 3 foster children already in their care. The house was chaotic, full of noise and activity. For a while, Monica thought she might be able to blend in, to lose herself in the commotion and find a place to belong. But the Garcias, well-meaning as they were stretched thin. There were never enough resources to go around, not enough food, not enough attention, not enough love. Monica learned to fend for herself, to grab what she could when she could, always with the gnawing fear that tomorrow might bring even less. "Monica, honey," Mrs. Garcia said one day, her voice strained with fatigue, "I'm sorry, but we're going to have to move you to a different room. We've got a new placement coming, a younger child who needs more attention." Monica nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. She'd grown attached to her little corner of the shared bedroom, the one place that felt even remotely like her own. But she knew better than to protest. In the foster system, nothing was permanent, and attachments were a luxury she couldn't afford. As she packed her meager belongings, Monica caught sight of herself in the mirror. At 9 years old, she looked older than her years, her eyes carrying a weariness that no child should know. For a moment, she allowed herself to wonder what her life might have been like if her parents hadn't left her. Would she have a room of her own? Would she know what it felt like to be someone's priority? The cycle continued. Monica bounced from home to home, never staying anywhere long enough to form real connections. Some placements were better than others. There was the kind, elderly couple who treated her gently, but couldn't keep up with a growing child, and the single mom who tried her best, but was overwhelmed by her own struggles. With each move, Monica felt a piece of herself slipping away. She became an expert at reading moods, at making herself small and unobtrusive. She learned to pack quickly, to hold on to only the barest essentials. Material possessions, she discovered, could be taken away as easily as people. But through it all, there was one constant in Monica's life: school. From the moment she stepped into her first classroom after entering foster care, Monica realized that education offered her something no one could take away. "Monica, your essay on To Kill a Mockingbird was exceptional," her 7th grade English teacher, Ms. Thompson, told her one day after class. "You have a real gift for analysis." Monica felt a warm glow of pride, a feeling so unfamiliar it almost hurt. Thank you, Miss Thompson. I, I really enjoyed the book. Miss Thompson smiled, her eyes kind. You know, there's a writing competition coming up. I think you should consider entering. For a moment, Monica hesitated. She'd learned the hard way not to hope for too much. But the encouragement in Ms. Thompson's voice was impossible to resist. Okay, she said softly. I'll try. That conversation marked a turning point for Monica. She threw herself into her studies with a fervor that surprised even her. Books became her escape, a portal to worlds where she could be anyone, do anything. Math problems were puzzles to be solved, each correct answer a small victory. Science experiments offered a glimpse into the orderly, predictable laws of nature, so different from the chaos of her personal life. As Monica progressed through middle school and into high school, her academic achievements began to pile up. Honor roll, academic decathlon, advanced placement classes. She tackled them all with a determination born of desperation. Education, she realized, was her ticket out of the cycle of abandonment and instability that had defined her life so far. You're one of the brightest students I've ever taught, Mr. Ramirez, her high school guidance counselor, told her during a meeting to discuss college applications. But Monica, I worry about you. You're pushing yourself so hard. When do you rest? Monica shrugged, avoiding his concerned gaze. I don't need much rest, Mr. Ramirez. I need to succeed. Mr. Ramirez leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. Success is important, Monica, but so is balance. You're more than just your grades, you know. His words struck a chord in Monica, but she pushed the feeling aside. She couldn't afford to slow down, to question her single-minded focus on academics. It was the one area of her life where she felt in control, where her worth wasn't determined by someone else's willingness to keep her around. As Monica entered her junior year of high school, new challenges arose. Her current foster family, while not unkind, made it clear that they expected her to contribute financially to the household. At 16, Monica found herself juggling schoolwork with a part-time job at a local diner. "Order up," the cook would shout, and Monica would rush to grab plates, her mind still working through calculus problems or history dates. She'd return home late, exhausted, only to face hours of homework and studying. There were nights when she'd fall asleep at her desk, waking with textbook pages stuck to her cheek and a crick in her neck. The stress began to take its toll. Dark circles appeared under Monica's eyes, and her normally neat appearance became disheveled. She lost weight, her appetite diminished by constant anxiety. One particularly grueling day, as Monica hurried between classes, she felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. The hallway tilted alarmingly, and she stumbled, her books scattering across the floor. "Whoa, easy there!" A strong hand caught her elbow, steadying her. Monica looked up to see Mr. Chun, her chemistry teacher, looking at her with concern. "Monica, are you all right?" She tried to nod, to brush off his worry, but to her horror, she felt tears welling up in her eyes. Before she knew it, she was sobbing, right there in the middle of the crowded hallway. Mr. Chin gently guided her to his classroom, closing the door to give them privacy. "Monica," he said softly, "talk to me. What's going on?" And so, for the first time in years, Monica let down her guard. She told Mr. Chin everything. The pressure she felt to succeed, the exhaustion from working and studying, the constant fear that one misstep would derail her chances at a better future. Mr. Chin listened without interrupting, his expression a mix of sympathy and admiration. When Monica finally fell silent, he spoke. "Monica, what you've accomplished in the face of such adversity is nothing short of remarkable. But you don't have to do this all on your own." He reached into his desk and pulled out a brochure. "There's a program for students in situations like yours. It provides mentorship, additional academic support, and even some financial assistance. I'd like to recommend you for it." Monica stared at the brochure, hope and skepticism warring within her. Why would you do that for me?" Mr. Chun smiled gently. Because you deserve support, Monica, and because I believe in you. Those words, so simple yet so powerful, marked another turning point in Monica's life. With Mr. Chin's recommendation, she was accepted into the program. For the first time, she had a network of adults who were invested in her success, who saw her potential and were committed to helping her achieve it. The program provided Monica with a tutor who helped her manage her workload more efficiently. They found her a better part-time job with more flexible hours, allowing her to balance work and school more effectively. Perhaps most importantly, they connected her with a therapist who helped her work through the emotional trauma of her childhood. As Monica's support system grew, so did her confidence. She began to see herself not just as a survivor, but as someone capable of thriving. Her grades, already impressive, soared even higher. She took on leadership roles in school clubs, discovering a talent for organization and public speaking. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. There were still nights when the old fears crept in, when the weight of her past threatened to overwhelm her. During one such moment, Monica found herself sitting on the steps outside school long after classes had ended, feeling lost and alone. "Monica," a voice called out. She looked up to see Mrs. Alvarez, her Spanish teacher, approaching. "What are you doing out here so late?" Monica shrugged, not trusting her voice. Mrs. Alvarez sat down beside her, her presence comforting without being intrusive. They sat in silence for a while, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant hues. Finally, Monica spoke. "Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, it'll never be enough?" Mrs. Alvarez nodded slowly. "Oh, Querida, everyone feels that way sometimes. But let me tell you something." She turned to face Monica, her eyes serious. "I've watched you overcome obstacles that would break most people. You are stronger than you know, and your worth isn't determined by your circumstances or by anyone else's opinion of you." Those words stayed with Monica, becoming a mantra she repeated to herself in moments of doubt. As she entered her senior year, she faced the daunting process of college applications with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "I can't believe I'm really doing this," she confided to Mr. Ramirez as they reviewed her applications. "Sometimes it feels like a dream." Mr. Ramirez smiled warmly. "It's no dream, Monica. You've earned this opportunity through your hard work and perseverance. And no matter where you end up, know that you have people here who believe in you and support you." As Monica sealed her last application envelope, she felt a sense of accomplishment unlike anything she'd experienced before. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but for the first time in her life, she truly believed she was ready to face whatever came her way. The girl who had once felt unwanted and alone now stood on the brink of a future full of possibility, surrounded by a chosen family of teachers and mentors who had become the support system she'd always longed for. Monica's journey was far from over, but she was no longer walking it alone. Monica stood at the entrance of her college campus, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The sprawling grounds of Westfield University stretched out before her, a world of possibility that she had only dreamed of until now. She clutched her acceptance letter tightly, still hardly believing that she had made it this far. "You've got this, Monica," she whispered to herself, taking a deep breath before stepping forward into her new life. The first few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Monica threw herself into her classes with the same determination that had carried her through high school. But college was different. Here, she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. For the first time in her life, Monica felt like she truly belonged somewhere. Her dorm room, small and cramped as it was, became a sanctuary. It was the first space that was truly her own, free from the uncertainty of foster care. Monica decorated it with care, pinning up inspiring quotes and photos of the teachers and mentors who had believed in her. As she settled into college life, Monica began to open up more. She joined study groups, participated in class discussions, and even signed up for a few clubs. Slowly but surely, she was building the kind of life she had always dreamed of. It was in her introduction to psychology class that Monica first met David. He sat a few rows behind her, and she had noticed him a few times, his thoughtful questions in class, the kind way he interacted with their classmates. But it wasn't until they were paired up for a group project that Monica truly got to know him. "So, what made you choose psychology?" David asked as they sat in the library, surrounded by textbooks and notepads. Monica hesitated for a moment before answering. I want to help kids who've been through tough times, kids in the foster system, you know?" She waited for the awkward silence that usually followed when she mentioned her background. But David just nodded, his eyes full of understanding. "That's really admirable, Monica. It takes a strong person to turn their struggles into something positive like that." Something in his words, in the genuine warmth of his smile, made Monica's walls start to crumble. As they worked on their project over the next few weeks, she found herself opening up to David in a way she never had before. She told him about her childhood, about the years of uncertainty and loneliness in foster care. David listened without judgment, offering support and understanding. He shared his own story, too, of growing up in a loving but struggling single-parent household, of working his way through school, of his dreams of becoming a social worker. Their connection deepened, moving beyond friendship into something more. Monica, who had always guarded her heart so carefully, found herself falling in love. David's steady presence in her life, his unwavering support and affection, began to heal wounds she didn't even know she had. "You know," David said one evening as they walked hand in hand across the moonlit campus, "I've never met anyone as strong as you, Monica. You've been through so much, but you're still so kind, so determined to make a difference." Monica felt tears prick her eyes at his words. "I don't always feel strong," she admitted. "Sometimes I'm terrified that I'll mess everything up, that I don't deserve any of this." David stopped walking and turned to face her, his hands gently cupping her face. "You deserve everything good in this world, Monica. And I'm going to keep reminding you of that every day, if you'll let me." In that moment, as David's lips met hers in a tender kiss, Monica allowed herself to believe in the possibility of a happy ending. For the first time, she could see a future where she wasn't alone, where she had the family she had always longed for. As Monica and David's relationship deepened, so did their commitment to their studies and future careers. They supported each other through late-night study sessions, celebrated each other's achievements, and provided comfort during moments of self-doubt. Monica's dream of helping foster children began to take clearer shape, with plans to specialize in child psychology. It was during their junior year that their lives took an unexpected turn. Monica had been feeling off for a few weeks, tired, nauseous, emotional. At first, she chalked it up to stress from midterms. But as the symptoms persisted, a different possibility began to form in her mind. With shaking hands, Monica took a pregnancy test in the cramped bathroom of her dorm room. As she waited for the results, her mind raced with conflicting emotions. Part of her was terrified. How could she handle a baby while still in college? But another part, a part she had long suppressed, felt a glimmer of hope, a chance at the family she had always wanted. When the test came back positive, Monica sat on the bathroom floor for what felt like hours, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. Finally, she picked up her phone and called David. "Can you come over?" she asked, her voice trembling. I need to tell you something important." David arrived at her dorm in record time, his face etched with concern. "Monica, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Monica took a deep breath, steeling herself. "David, I'm pregnant." For a moment, David stood frozen, his eyes wide with shock. Then, to Monica's surprise, a slow smile spread across his face. He crossed the room in 2 strides and gathered her in his arms. "We're having a baby," he whispered, his voice filled with awe. "Monica, this is amazing." His reaction unleashed the dam of Monica's emotions. She burst into tears, clinging to David as relief and joy and fear all crashed over her at once. "But what about school?" she sobbed. "How are we going to do this?" David pulled back slightly, his hands on Monica's shoulders as he looked into her eyes. "We'll figure it out together," he said firmly. "It won't be easy, but we can do this. I love you, Monica, and I love this baby already. We're going to be a family." The word family sent a shiver through Monica. A family of her own. It was everything she had ever wanted, everything she had been afraid to hope for. As David held her close, whispering words of love and reassurance, Monica allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, her dreams were finally coming true. The next few months were a whirlwind of activity. Monica and David threw themselves into preparing for their baby while still keeping up with their studies. They moved into a tiny off-campus apartment, transforming the second bedroom into a nursery with furniture from thrift stores and hand-me-downs from David's family. Monica's professors were surprisingly supportive when she shared her news. Many offered flexible deadlines and extra help to ensure she could keep up with her coursework. Her old mentors from high school reached out with congratulations and offers of support, reminding Monica that she had a network of people rooting for her success. As her belly grew, so did Monica's excitement and trepidation. She devoured parenting books, determined to give her child the stable, loving home she had never had. David was right there with her, attending every doctor's appointment, rubbing her swollen feet after long days of classes, and talking to her growing bump every night. "Hey there, little one," he'd say, his hand gentle on Monica's stomach. "We can't wait to meet you. You're already so loved." Those quiet moments became Monica's favorite part of each day. As she watched David interact with their unborn child, she felt a sense of peace she had never known before. This was what family felt like, she realized. This was what it meant to belong. But life had taught Monica that happiness could be fleeting, and her old fears sometimes crept in during the dark hours of the night. "What if I'm not a good mother?" she confided to David one evening. "What if I mess this up?" David pulled her close, his hand protectively covering her belly. "Monica, listen to me. You are the strongest, most loving person I know. Our baby is so lucky to have you as a mother. We'll figure this out together, okay? You're not alone anymore." His words soothed her fears, and Monica allowed herself to fully embrace the joy of impending motherhood. She and David spent hours discussing their future, planning for the life they would build together with their child. As Monica entered her third trimester, she and David decided to take a weekend trip to visit his family. It was a chance to relax before the final push of the semester and to introduce Monica to the extended family she would soon be a part of. The visit was everything Monica had dreamed a family gathering could be. David's mother fussed over her, insisting she rest and eat plenty. His siblings teased David good-naturedly about impending fatherhood, while offering Monica warm hugs and words of welcome. For the first time in her life, Monica felt like she truly belonged. On the drive back to campus, Monica's heart felt full to bursting with happiness. She reached over and squeezed David's hand as he drove, overwhelmed with love for him and their unborn child. "I can't wait to start our life together," she said softly. "You and me and the baby. Our own little family." David glanced at her, his eyes shining with love. "It's going to be amazing, Monica. We've got our whole lives ahead of us." Those words would haunt Monica in the days to come, because life, as she had learned so painfully in the past, had a way of appending even the most carefully laid plans. It happened on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Monica was in class, her mind half on the lecture and half on the stack of baby clothes she still needed to wash at home. Her phone buzzed with a text from David, heading to the store for ice cream. "Any special requests from my two favorite people?" Monica smiled, texting back a request for chocolate chip cookie dough. She returned her attention to the lecture, unaware that it would be the last message she would ever receive from David. An hour later, as Monica was leaving class, she saw campus security approaching her with grim expressions. Her heart dropped, an instinctive fear taking hold before she even knew what was wrong. "Miss Foster?" one of the officers said gently. "I'm afraid there's been an accident." The next few hours passed in a blur of confusion and denial. Monica found herself in the hospital, surrounded by doctors speaking words she couldn't quite comprehend. "Head-on collision, did everything we could. I'm so sorry." It wasn't until she saw David, lying still and pale in the hospital bed, that the reality of the situation hit her. Monica's knees buckled, a primal scream tearing from her throat as the full weight of her loss crashed over her. David was gone. Her partner, her love, the father of her unborn child, taken in an instant by a drunk driver who had crossed the center line on a rainy afternoon. The future they had planned together, the family they were supposed to build, all of it shattered in the space of a heartbeat. As Monica sat by David's bedside, her hand clutching his lifeless one, she felt the baby kick inside her. The movement, once a source of joy, now felt like a cruel reminder of all she had lost. She was alone again, abandoned once more, but this time with the added weight of responsibility for the tiny life growing inside her. The days that followed were a haze of grief and shock. Monica moved through the motions of life like a ghost, barely eating, barely sleeping. David's family rallied around her, offering support and love, but their presence only served to remind Monica of the family she had so briefly tasted and lost. Her professors and college administrators were understanding, offering her a leave of absence to deal with her loss. But Monica, driven by a determination born of years of fighting against the odds, refused to give up on her education. "I have to finish," she told her grief counselor, her hand resting protectively on her swollen belly. "For David, for our baby. I can't let this defeat me." And so, Monica pushed forward. She attended classes with hollow eyes, threw herself into her studies with a fervor that bordered on obsession. It was easier to focus on textbooks and assignments than to face the yawning emptiness in her heart. But in the quiet moments, when she was alone in the apartment that still held so many reminders of David, the grief would overwhelm her. Monica would find herself curled up in David's favorite chair, clutching one of his shirts, her body racked with sobs. "How am I supposed to do this without you?" she would whisper to the empty room. "How can I be a mother when I feel so broken?" As her due date approached, Monica's fear began to outweigh her grief. The reality of single motherhood loomed large, bringing with it all the insecurities and doubts she had battled throughout her life. The old feelings of abandonment resurfaced, stronger than ever. One particularly difficult night, as Monica lay awake feeling her baby move, she was struck by a sudden, overwhelming urge to run, to leave everything behind, to escape the responsibility and pain that seemed to define her life. For a brief, terrible moment, she understood why her own parents might have left her. But then the baby kicked again, a strong, insistent movement that seemed to say, "I'm here. I need you." And Monica realized that she had a choice. She could continue the cycle of abandonment that had shaped her life, or she could break it. She could be the parent she had always wished for, the one who stayed no matter how hard things got. With trembling hands, Monica reached for the baby book she and David had started together. She opened to a blank page and began to write. "My dear child, I want you to know that you are loved. Your father loved you from the moment he knew you existed, and he would have moved heaven and earth to be here with us. I love you more than I ever thought possible to love anyone. Life hasn't been easy, and I'm scared of what's to come. But I promise you this, I will never leave you. No matter how hard things get, no matter how scared or overwhelmed I feel, I will always be here for you. We're a family, you and me, and we're going to face whatever comes together. Your dad used to say that I was the strongest person he knew. I didn't believe him then, but I'm going to try my hardest to live up to that for you. You deserve nothing less. I can't wait to meet you, my love. We got a whole life ahead of us. As Monica finished writing, she felt a sense of calm settle over her. The road ahead would be difficult. She knew. There would be challenges and heartaches, moments of doubt and fear. But for the first time since losing David, she felt a flicker of hope. She wasn't alone anymore. She had her baby, this tiny life that was part her and part David. And she had the strength that had carried her through every hardship life had thrown at her so far. It was time to show the world and herself just how resilient she could be. Monica placed her hand on her belly, feeling the strong kicks of her child. "It's you and me, little one," she whispered. "We're going to be okay. I promise." It was a crisp autumn morning when Monica went into labor, 2 weeks before her due date. As she was rushed to the hospital, a wave of panic washed over her. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. David should have been by her side, holding her hand, telling her everything would be okay. But as the first contraction hit, Monica gritted her teeth and focused on the task at hand. She had survived abandonment, loss, and heartbreak. She could survive this too. After hours of labor, Monica gave birth to a healthy baby boy. As the nurse placed the tiny bundle in her arms, Monica felt a rush of love, so intense it took her breath away. "Hello, Isaiah," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm your mommy. Your daddy can't be here, but he loved you so much. And I promise, I will love you enough for both of us." The first few weeks with Isaiah were a blur of sleepless nights, diaper changes, and overwhelming love. Monica was exhausted but happier than she had been since losing David. Every time she looked at Isaiah's tiny face, she saw echoes of his father, and it both broke her heart and gave her strength. But as her maternity leave from school came to an end, reality set in. Monica's final semester was about to begin, and she now had to figure out how to balance being a full-time student with being a single mother to a newborn. The first day back was a disaster. Monica had been up all night with a colicky Isaiah, and she arrived at her morning class with spit up on her shirt and dark circles under her eyes. As she tried to focus on the lecture, her mind kept drifting to Isaiah, wondering if he was okay at the campus daycare. When she picked him up after class, the daycare worker gently informed her that Isaiah had cried for most of the morning. Monica felt a wave of guilt wash over her. Was she failing her son by pursuing her education? That night, as she rocked a fussy Isaiah to sleep, Monica broke down. "I don't know if I can do this," she sobbed quietly, careful not to wake the baby. "David, I need you. How am I supposed to do this alone?" But as Isaiah's tiny hand wrapped around her finger in his sleep, Monica felt a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't alone. She had Isaiah, and she had to be strong for him. The following weeks were a constant juggling act. Monica's days became a blur of classes, study sessions, diaper changes, and sleepless nights. She learned to type essays one-handed while cradling Isaiah with the other, and her textbooks often served double duty as makeshift burp cloths. Financial worries were a constant shadow. Even with her scholarship and part-time job, Monica struggled to afford the basics for herself and Isaiah. There were nights when she went to bed hungry, having spent the last of her money on diapers and formula. One particularly stressful evening, as Monica tried to soothe the crying Isaiah while simultaneously attempting to study for a crucial exam, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find her neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, an elderly woman who had often smiled at Monica in the hallway, but had never spoken more than a few words to her. "I hope you don't mind," Mrs. Rodriguez said softly, "but I could hear the little one crying. I thought you might need a break." Before Monica could respond, Mrs. Rodriguez had gently taken Isaiah from her arms, cooing softly to him in Spanish. To Monica's amazement, Isaiah quieted almost immediately. "You study, dear," Mrs. Rodriguez said. "I'll watch him for a couple of hours. Every new mother needs a village, and it looks like you're a little short on villagers right now." Tears of gratitude sprang to Monica's eyes. It was the first time since Isaiah's birth that someone had offered her real, tangible help. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "You have no idea how much this means to me." From that day on, Mrs. Rodriguez became a regular fixture in Monica and Isaiah's life. She would watch the baby for a few hours each week, giving Monica precious time to study or simply rest. Her kindness opened the floodgates for more support to pour in. Monica's classmates, seeing her struggle, began to organize study groups around her schedule. They took turns watching Isaiah during group projects, cooing over the baby while discussing psychology theories. One of her classmates, Sarah, even started a small fundraiser to help Monica with baby supplies. "We're all rooting for you, Monica," Sarah told her one day as she handed over a box of diapers and some homemade casseroles. "You're going to make an amazing psychologist someday, and Isaiah is lucky to have such a strong mom." Monica's professors, too, showed unexpected understanding. Dr. Thompson, her child psychology professor, often let Monica bring Isaiah to class when she couldn't find childcare. The baby became a sort of unofficial teaching aid, with Dr. Thompson using him to demonstrate developmental milestones. "You're getting some hands-on experience here, Monica," Dr. Thompson joked one day as Isaiah gurgled happily in Monica's lap. "Just don't expect extra credit for it." Even the administration got involved. When Monica's financial aid was delayed due to a clerical error, leaving her unable to pay for textbooks, the dean of students stepped in. He arranged for Monica to borrow books from the library's reserve collection and set up a meeting with the financial aid office to resolve the issue. "We invest in promising students, Ms. Foster," the dean told her, "and you've shown remarkable resilience and determination. We want to see you succeed." This outpouring of support was a stark contrast to Monica's earlier life experiences. For the first time, she felt like she truly belonged somewhere, that she was part of a community that cared about her and her son's well-being. But even with all the help, the challenges were immense. There were still nights when Monica found herself crying alongside Isaiah, overwhelmed by exhaustion and self-doubt. The grief of losing David would hit her at unexpected moments, leaving her gasping for breath in the middle of a lecture or while changing a diaper. One particularly difficult day, after receiving a lower grade than she'd hoped for on a key assignment, Monica felt her resolve wavering. She sat on the floor of her tiny apartment, surrounded by textbooks and baby toys, feeling utterly defeated. "Maybe I should just quit," she murmured to Isaiah, who was happily gnawing on a teething ring. "Maybe it's selfish of me to keep pushing for this degree when you need me." As if sensing her distress, Isaiah looked up at her with David's eyes and gave her a gummy smile. In that moment, Monica felt a surge of determination. She wasn't just doing this for herself anymore. She was doing it for Isaiah, to show him that no matter what life threw at you, you could overcome it. "We're not quitting, are we, little man?" she said, tickling Isaiah's tummy and eliciting a giggle. "Mommy's going to finish this degree, and then we're going to help other kids who've had a tough start in life. Just like us." With renewed energy, Monica threw herself back into her studies. She developed a routine that, while grueling, allowed her to balance her responsibilities. Her days started at dawn, with early morning feedings and diaper changes before rushing to her first class. Between lectures, she would dash to the daycare to nurse Isaiah, often using the time to review notes or start assignments. Evenings were a whirlwind of playtime with Isaiah, more studying and household chores. Monica learned to function on minimal sleep, often staying up late into the night to complete assignments after Isaiah had finally drifted off. There were moments of pure joy amidst the chaos. Isaiah's first real smile, his first laugh, the first time he rolled over. Each milestone was a celebration, a reminder of why all the hard work was worth it. Monica would often find herself pausing in the middle of a study session, just watching Isaiah sleep, marveling at the tiny person she and David had created. But there were also moments of heart-wrenching sadness. When Isaiah said his first word, "Mama," Monica's joy was tinged with sorrow that David wasn't there to hear it. Every time Isaiah hit a new milestone, she felt the absence of his father keenly. As her final semester progressed, Monica found herself growing stronger, more resilient. The support of her community had shown her that she wasn't alone, that it was okay to lean on others sometimes. She began to see herself not just as a struggling single mother, but as a survivor, a fighter. One evening, as Monica sat on a bench outside the psychology building, Isaiah asleep in his stroller beside her, she overheard two of her classmates talking. "I don't know how Monica does it," one of them said. "Single mom, top of the class, and she's always got a smile for everyone. I can barely manage my coursework, and I don't have half her responsibilities." "She's incredible," the other agreed. "Did you know she's already been accepted into the master's program? Full scholarship, too. She's going to make an amazing child psychologist." Monica felt a warmth spread through her chest at their words. It was true. She had been accepted into the graduate program, an achievement that still felt surreal. There were times when she could hardly believe how far she'd come from the scared, abandoned little girl she'd once been. As if on cue, Isaiah stirred in his stroller, blinking up at her with David's eyes. Monica reached down to stroke his cheek, feeling a surge of love and pride. "We did it, little man," she whispered. "It hasn't been easy, but we're almost there. And you know what? I think your daddy would be proud of us." With graduation just weeks away, Monica allowed herself to feel hopeful about the future. Yes, there would still be challenges ahead. Single motherhood and graduate school would bring their own set of obstacles. But Monica knew now that she had the strength to face whatever came her way. She had survived abandonment, loss, and seemingly insurmountable odds. She had found love, lost it, and discovered a different kind of love in her son. She had built a community, a support system that she never thought she'd have. As Monica gathered Isaiah in her arms and headed home to prepare for another long night of studying, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. The road ahead might be difficult, but she was ready for it. She was Monica Foster, survivor, student, and mother, and she was stronger than she had ever imagined possible. The morning of graduation day dawned bright and clear, a perfect June day filled with promise. Monica woke before her alarm, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She glanced over at Isaiah's crib, where her son slept peacefully, unaware of the momentous day ahead. "Today's the day, little man," Monica whispered, gently stroking Isaiah's cheek. "We made it." As she began her morning routine, memories of the past 4 years flooded Monica's mind. The day she first stepped onto campus, full of hope and determination. The moment she met David, and how quickly he had become her rock. The joy of discovering she was pregnant, followed by the crushing grief of losing David. The countless sleepless nights, the tears, the moments of doubt, and the small victories that had led her to this day. Monica's hands shook slightly as she dressed Isaiah in the tiny cap and gown she had specially ordered for him. It was extravagant, considering their tight budget, but she wanted him to be part of this moment. After all, he had been with her every step of the way. "You look so handsome," Monica cooed, fighting back tears as she snapped a quick picture. "Just like your daddy." The thought of David sent a pang through Monica's heart. He should have been here, beaming with pride, probably taking 100 photos and embarrassing her with his enthusiasm. Monica closed her eyes, allowing herself a moment to imagine him there. "We did it, David," she whispered. "I wish you could see us." A knock at the door pulled Monica from her reverie. She opened it to find Mrs. Rodriguez, her neighbor and unofficial grandmother to Isaiah, standing there with a bouquet of flowers. "Oh, Monica," Mrs. Rodriguez exclaimed, her eyes misting over. "You look beautiful, mihija. And look at this little graduate." She tickled Isaiah, eliciting a giggle from the baby. "Thank you for everything, Mrs. Rodriguez," Monica said, hugging the older woman tightly. "I couldn't have done this without you." "Nonsense," Mrs. Rodriguez replied, patting Monica's cheek affectionately. "You did all the hard work. I just provided a little Abuela love when needed. Ready to go, Isaiah? Monica asked, lifting her son into her arms. It's time to show the world what we can do. The campus was a flurry of activity when they arrived. Everywhere Monica looked, she saw beaming graduates and proud families. For a moment, she felt a twinge of sadness, wishing her own parents could be there. But then Isaiah gurgled happily in her arms, and Monica realized she had all the family she needed right there. As they approached the gathering area for graduates, Monica saw familiar faces from her classes. Many of them rushed over, cooing over Isaiah and congratulating Monica. "I can't believe you brought him with you," one of her classmates exclaimed. "That's so Monica, always going above and beyond." Monica smiled, bouncing Isaiah gently. "Well, he's as much a part of this journey as I am. It only felt right to have him here." As the ceremony began, Monica's heart raced. She listened to the speeches with half an ear, her mind swirling with emotions. Pride at what she had accomplished, grief that David couldn't be there to see it, love for the little boy nestled against her chest, and a burning determination to make the most of this degree she had fought so hard to earn. Finally, it was time for the graduates to receive their diplomas. As Monica's row stood and began to file towards the stage, she took a deep breath, steeling herself for the moment she had dreamed of for so long. "You've got this," she whispered to herself, feeling Isaiah's warmth against her chest. "We got this." Monica watched as her classmates crossed the stage one by one, each name called bringing her closer to her turn. And then finally she heard it. Monica Foster. With her heart pounding, Monica stepped onto the stage. She walked with purpose, her head held high, feeling the weight of everything she had overcome with each step. As she approached the dean to receive her diploma, Isaiah chose that moment to let out a happy gurgle. The dean paused, startled, as the audience let out a collective gasp. Monica felt a moment of panic, worried that she had broken some rule by bringing Isaiah. But then she saw the dean's face soften into a smile. "Well," he said, his voice warm, "it seems we have 2 graduates crossing the stage today." A ripple of laughter and applause went through the crowd. Monica felt tears prick her eyes as she accepted her diploma with one hand, the other instinctively going to the bump under her gown where Isaiah was nestled. As Monica turned to face the audience, diploma in hand, the applause grew louder. She saw her professors standing, clapping enthusiastically. Mrs. Rodriguez was in the crowd, tears streaming down her face as she cheered. And there, in the back, Monica could have sworn she saw a familiar figure, David, smiling proudly, before fading away like a mirage. The walk back to her seat was a blur of emotion for Monica. She felt like she was floating, buoyed by the applause and the overwhelming sense of accomplishment. As she sat down, Isaiah peeked out from her gown, blinking at the bright lights and noise. "We did it, baby," Monica whispered, kissing his forehead. "We really did it." The rest of the ceremony passed in a haze. Monica barely heard the closing speeches, her mind replaying the moment she had crossed the stage. It wasn't until the graduates were instructed to move their tassels that Monica fully returned to the present. With trembling hands, Monica moved her tassel from right to left. As she did so, she felt a sense of transformation. She was no longer just Monica Foster, abandoned child and struggling single mother. She was Monica Foster, college graduate, future psychologist, and proud mother. When the ceremony ended and the graduates were told they could leave, Monica stood with the rest of her class. As caps flew into the air around her, Monica held Isaiah close, whispering to him, "Look at that, Isaiah. All those caps in the air. One day, that'll be you up here, and I'll be in the audience, cheering you on louder than anyone." As the graduates began to disperse, finding their families and friends, Monica made her way through the crowd. She was stopped every few steps by classmates wanting to congratulate her and coo over Isaiah. "Monica!" She turned to see Sarah running towards her, camera in hand. I got it all on video. The moment Isaiah made his presence known, the dean's reaction, everything. It was perfect. Monica hugged her friend tightly, careful not to squish Isaiah between them. Thank you, Sarah, for everything. I couldn't have done this without you. Oh, please, Sarah scoffed, but her eyes were shining with unshed tears. You're the strongest person I know, Monica. You could have done this with or without any of us. But I'm so glad I got to be part of your journey. As they chatted, more of Monica's support system found their way to her. Dr. Thompson arrived, beaming with pride. Mrs. Rodriguez appeared, immediately reaching for Isaiah and peppering his face with kisses. I'm so proud of you, Mihija, Mrs. Rodriguez said, her voice thick with emotion. You've shown such strength, such determination. This little one is lucky to have you as his mama. Monica felt overwhelmed by the love and support surrounding her. It was so different from the loneliness she had felt for so much of her life. Here, in this moment, she felt truly seen and appreciated for who she was and what she had accomplished. As the crowd began to thin, Monica found a quiet spot under a tree. She sat down, carefully extracting Isaiah from his hiding spot in her gown. He blinked up at her, his tiny hand reaching for the tassel on her cap. What do you think, Isaiah? Monica asked softly. Should we take a picture for your baby book? She positioned her phone, holding Isaiah close as she snapped a selfie. As she looked at the image, her eyes shining with tears of joy, Isaiah's curious face peeking out from her gown, Monica felt a wave of emotion wash over her. In that photo, she saw not just a graduate and her baby, but a testament to resilience, to the power of love and determination. She saw the little girl who had been abandoned, the teenager who had fought her way to college, the young woman who had found and lost love, and the mother who had persevered against all odds. We've come so far, little one, Monica whispered, kissing Isaiah's forehead. And we've got so much further to go. But we'll do it together, you and me. As the sun began to set on the day, casting a golden glow over the campus, Monica stood up, Isaiah secure in her arms. She took one last look around, remembering the scared freshman she had been 4 years ago, marveling at how much had changed. Time to go home, Isaiah, she said. We got a whole new chapter waiting for us. As they walked away from the graduation ceremony, Monica felt a sense of excitement for the future. She had her degree, she had her son, and she had a support system she never thought she'd have. The road ahead might not be easy, but Monica knew she was ready for whatever challenges came her way. After all, she was Monica Foster's survivor, graduate mother, and she was stronger than she had ever imagined possible. The campus grew quiet as the last of the graduates and their families departed. But the echo of Monica's achievement, her walk across the stage with Isaiah hidden beneath her gown, seemed to linger in the air. It was a moment that would be remembered and retold, a story of perseverance and triumph that would inspire future students for years to come. And somewhere, beyond the realm of the living, David watched over his little family, his spirit filled with pride and love for the incredible woman Monica had become and the beautiful son they had created together. Though he couldn't be there in person, his love remained a constant presence in their lives, a guiding light for Monica and Isaiah as they embarked on their new journey together. As Monica and Isaiah disappeared from view, the sun dipped below the horizon, bringing the momentous day to a close. But for Monica, it wasn't an ending. It was a beginning, the start of a new chapter filled with possibilities, challenges, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her son. The campus might have fallen silent, but Monica's story was far from over. It was in many ways just beginning, and whatever the future held, she was ready to face it head on, with Isaiah by her side and the memory of David in her heart. What would you do if you were in Monica's shoes, walking across the graduation stage with a newborn baby after enduring a lifetime of abandonment and loss? Would you have fought as hard to reach your dreams, or taken a different path? If this story of resilience, motherhood, and the power of determination touched you, please consider subscribing to my channel. I pour my heart into sharing these emotional stories, and your support means the world to me. Thank you for being part of this journey.